Hi, I'm Underbelly, and you suck at music theory. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to build tension in our music. Let's get started. Okay, so check it. Tension comes in a variety of different forms: racial, sexual, and in Uncle Joe's case, gastrointestinal. But in music, tension mostly comes from dissonance, or when two or more notes feel like they're clashing with one another. In order to understand where dissonance comes from, let's just start with one note, in this case, an A, played by a simple sine wave. Beautiful. If we look inside our spectrum here, we can see that this A actually is composed of a bunch of different frequencies here. You'll notice that this bottom frequency, that big protrusion here on the left side, is the fundamental. And in this case, it's an A1 located at around 110 hertz. Now, you'll notice that above this main fundamental frequency is a series of smaller protrusions called overtones. These overtones all bear a mathematical relationship with our fundamental and serve as the foundation for tonal music. Wowzers! If we look at that first overtone here, in this case, it's just a simple octave above our fundamental, A2, located at 220 hertz. Notice that every time we go up an octave, the frequency doubles. Wowzers, that's some mathematics right there. I teach Derek that. Now, if we play the root and the octave with one another, in this case, A1 and A2, it sounds very harmonic and resonant and consonant. This is because the overtones of both notes are aligning with one another perfectly. If we go back to our root and check out what the next overtone is in the series, you'll see that in this case it's an E located at 330 hertz, which is just a perfect fifth above our fundamental. And if we play those two notes with one another, wowzers, still sounds very resonant. The octave and the fifth are two of the most natural intervals, and they serve as the foundation for all of ancient and Western music. Wowzers. Let's go back to our root here. Let's see what the next note is in our overtone series. After the E, we have another octave, A at 440 hertz. And then we also have a C sharp. Wowzers. Okay, looks like we have a major third here. And together they sound like this. Still very resonant, but you'll see as we go up the overtone series, these notes start to sound more and more dissonant. So if we go back to our root, let's go ahead and see. After C sharp, looks like we just have another E, another perfect fifth. And then after the E, we have a G, which in this case is a seventh above our A. It sounds like this. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, now that's starting to stick out a little bit. Let's go ahead and take that G, lower it an octave. Okay, a little bit more manageable, but there's a bit of dissonance there that's starting to appear. Let's go back to our root. Looks like after our G here, looks like the next, we just have another octave here, and above that we have a B, which looks like it's a ninth above our main tone here, which in this case, is a B. Starting to sound a bit dissonant, especially if we take that B and lower it an octave so that these two notes are right next to one another. Oh, Jesus Christ! Sounds like Uncle Joe's farts. Oh my gosh. Now here's where that dissonance and tension is starting to appear. Now here's the beauty behind this. We can actually use this phenomenon to create interest and a power in our music here. So for example, let's start with some tension here. In this case, the tension is created by an A and a D here. The D is a perfect fourth above the A, which is a tense interval. Now, our goal is to take this tension and somehow resolve it. So let's actually go from the D. This D sounds to me like it wants to go down to that major third. It wants to resolve itself by going down a half step. So let's just hear that. Let's start with the tension and let's release it. Oh my gosh, let's hear that back one more time. Tension and release. Wowzers. That was so beautiful. Now, we resolved that tension by going down to the major third, which, as we saw, which was pretty close in our harmonic overtone series, but we can also resolve it by, instead of going down a half step, we can go up a whole step to that E, which creates that perfect fifth. Wowzers. Now, that's just one example of tension resolving. We can also start with another tense interval. In this case, the A and the F, it just sounds ugly there. And we can resolve that tension just by going down a half step to that perfect fifth. Wowzers. Once again, tension and release. Oh my gosh, it's orgasmic. Let's try it one more time. Let's create tension. Here we have the seventh here. We saw that in the overtone series, and that just wants to go up to the octave. Oh, wowzers. Once again. Beautiful. Now we can use this phenomenon of tension and release when we're trying to construct our chords here. So for example, in this chord, if we hit the fold button, you'll see that it's just a simple A chord. We have the A at the bottom with the perfect fifth on top of it and an octave above that. And then we have that D, which is creating the tension on top. So that's what we call a suspended chord, and that D, once again, wants to fall down a half step to that C sharp. So we go tension and release. Wowzers. So beautiful. Now, if we didn't want that tension to resolve fully, instead of getting rid of that D up on top, we can actually keep both the suspended D and the major third at the same time in this third chord here. So let's hear that. Start with the D. We're just going to keep the D and add the C sharp. Wowzers. That's so beautiful. We're resolving, but we're still keeping that tension up on top. Oh man, this is creating a lot of sexual tension in me. Gotta go masturbate. Okay, so check it. If you're still experiencing too much tension in your life and you don't know how to resolve it, consider becoming a supporter on my Patreon page by clicking on the link in the video description below. Becoming a supporter will grant you access to perks and exclusive video content not available on my YouTube channel. Anyways, I'm Underbelly. Have a great day.